It was very exciting. It was exciting to be part of something new and starting up. The crowd fundraising was familiar territory for my husband and I because we had done it before with other fundraising stuff, but also other crowd fundraising personal pages. So that we knew what to do and how to do it. But being a part of what Hank was doing and just being a part of something new was really fun and exciting. It was kind of thrilling because you start something where fundraising, it's such a huge goal. Like our goal was $35,000, and I I had never raised that much money in my life before. Um, we were really hopeful and excited. And then after we kind of got into the process, we just were blown away by the response, by just, working with Adopt Together, and the whole platform was great, and just all the people that rose up to give. I mean, I meant to look and see how many donors that we had, but I think we have over 100 donors that helped, us reach our goal. And it took us 9 months to reach our goal, from zero to $35,000. But within the first 2 months, I think we reached like our $20,000 mark. So we were just so blown away by the community of people that stepped up to support our family and our journey and our adoption. So there was no hesitancy, but we did definitely have some fears. I think fundraising in general is kind of scary. I've been a professional fundraiser in a paid for job, and stepping into this still felt scary because of the goal being so big. So the $35,000 goal was intimidating, but really what I think was the biggest thing that we were a little fearful of was, we knew what we needed to do. We knew we needed to talk to everyone that we knew, and that we knew we needed to reach out multiple times to people. But we were kind of scared that people would get annoyed or turned off, or, just pester people. We didn't want to pester people and just, hey, we need more money. Hey, we need more funds. So I would say that was our biggest fear in it, which I think is a pretty common fear that a lot of people have. A couple of things that we did really in our process to make sure, because I think this fear is actually, you can do things in a way that can turn people off when you're fundraising. And so a couple of the things that we did that I think were really helpful that I'd love to share is we really focused on an inviting language versus an asking language. We really invited people into our adoption journey, and we focused a lot on the whole process and not just the focus on the money of the funds. So we invited people just into all of the adoption updates, and the updates included where we were on our fundraising, how much we had raised, how much we had left, along with, when we completed our home study or had our dossier to send in. We really invited people into the whole process, not just the fundraising piece. So I think that was one thing that was helpful in kind of those fears, in making sure that we just included people into our lives. Another thing too that we did that I think is really important is we really we coded everything with gratitude, where when we put something out on social media, and we started it and we ended it with just gratitude, for thankfulness for the people that had already given and generously given. But then also we shared, here's our need still. We've raised $20,000. We have $15,000 to go. So thank you to everyone that's given. If you want to give again, or if you want to give it all, here's the Adopt Together link. So just that whole, like the coding everything with gratitude was something that was really important in kind of some of our fears, in settling some of those fears and making sure that we weren't like turning anyone off. So, and then we were also really intentional about our communication. So we wouldn't just post on social media whenever we felt like it. We actually had a plan, like a thought out plan in which, we would post for a little while and then we would stop, and then we'd post for another little while and then we'd stop. So we try and create some momentums, um, an intentional momentum, and then give it a rest a little bit. So yeah, I feel like I mean, we could have done more um, like activities. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Uh-huh.
so we primarily raised all of our funds through monthly email letters, like updates. We did like social media, um, like momentum moments where we gave our birthdays away to our adoption,
Mm.
um, and that's really how we raised all of our funds. I think we maybe could have raised some a little quicker if we would have had maybe once a month where people do donate and uh, donate, and then you can get your name put in a hat for a prize you can win, or doing some of those kind of more momentum, like people love to like get something for giving something. So if there's something that they could win, or if there is something that they could receive because of giving, I probably would have added a little bit more of that into our fundraising. Yeah, I mean, our whole step of the journey, we just brought people into it. So our adoption journey was 4 years long, and we raised funds in our first and second year of just our paperwork and such. And so we kept the list of the donors and the people that were kind of alongside of us, and we did, maybe it wasn't a monthly email update, but we do maybe a bi-monthly or a quarterly update. And then when it came to traveling, because we adopted internationally from Uganda, so we had to take 2 trips there. And so then we created, a private Facebook page, and we just brought people along in our journey and our story, um, that that they could follow along if they wanted to. And we got to the end of our kind of our last trip to take custody of our son, and I ended up having to live there a lot longer than expected. I was only expecting to be there 3 weeks, but I ended up being there over 2 months. And we got to a point where we're like, okay, we're running out of money. So, this is, maybe 3 years later, 2 years later. And after we had raised our goal of $35,000. And so we sent out a mass email to everyone that had either donated or were just, said that they would join our journey. And we said, hey, we're at this point of our journey. This is what's happening. The costs over here and the cost to change our flights, like we're needing some more support if you're able to give it. And people stepped up. I think we raised another $5,000 to just cover our costs for the rest of our travel. I think it's really important that you don't limit the number of people that you ask. And it's really scary to not ask people because of maybe bad experiences in the past, or maybe some of your own fears. Um, and there was those probably 4 or 5 people where I was like, I don't want to ask them because I'm scared to ask them. I feel like they
Mm.
might be weird about it. Um, but you know what? We asked them, we put it out there, and some of them gave, some of them didn't. But we never got any pushback on like any negativity around, why are you doing this? We got a lot of questions around just why does it cost so much to adopt?
Mm.
Why are you adopting? Why are you adopting from Uganda and not from the US? So we got a lot of questions, and that actually can be a barrier for people to giving to, in fundraising. So I think it's really important that as the fundraisers, when we're sharing our stories and when we're inviting people into, our journeys of adoption and our journeys of fundraising, that we help them understand the why. And some people won't ask the questions. And so if we can just offer the information around, why do you have to raise $35,000? Why does it cost so much? And, in our initial, letter, we put in there, this is why we have to communicate, or this is why we have to raise $35,000. So helping people understand the why, I think, is really important. I always say that effective fundraising is really highly relational, and it really comes down to who you ask, how you ask, and how often you kind of share your story and you invite people to give. So, I think it's important you ask everyone. It's called crowd fundraising for a reason. You need a crowd to raise funds. I think how you ask, I think you ask by inviting people. You share your story and you invite people to follow along in your story. You make it personal. You use as many sources of communication as you can, from, email to snail mail, just every kind of social media that you can think of. You get your story out there. And then how often, I think it's important, like I said before, to be intentional, and have a plan. Find creative moments of momentum, and don't post all the time whenever you feel like it, but just being intentional is important. So, and following up with people is really important too.